I used to wonder if life was punishing me. Why was it that no matter how hard I tried, I kept falling into the same mistakes? Why did the people I loved either leave me or slowly grow distant, as if I were a wind blowing in the wrong direction? Was I being punished by someone or something for mistakes I no longer remembered? Or worse, for something I never even knew I had done? That question echoed in me for 38 years, like a wordless soundtrack playing beneath every moment of my life, heavy and unresolved. I was a visual storyteller, an art director who helped shape the worlds of others. But my own life felt shapeless, undefined. Every relationship I walked through left behind shadows. Every success I achieved came with a hollowness that applause could never fill. I lived in the city of angels, Los Angeles, a place known for its light, but inside me was the darkness of a man who smiled on the outside and shattered quietly within. No one knew that after completing a perfect scene, I often sat alone, staring at it, asking myself, am I just coloring in something false? Am I staging my own life like a film set, long, elaborate, but not real? For a long time, I blamed the circumstances, the people, and the industry. I believed I was a victim. Until that day. The day everything stopped. And also the day I discovered something else, something older, deeper, and more real than anything I had ever imagined. A cycle far greater than mine. A truth that had been waiting for me all along. That night, I was walking home after a late shift. The air was cold, not rainy, but heavy, as if even the sky was tired. A car came speeding around a corner with its headlights off and struck me head on. I remember my body lifting off the ground, then crashing down, and then nothing. No light, no sound, just absolute stillness. But in that silence, I could feel myself still existing. And that was when I began to see, not with my eyes, but with something deeper, sharper, and undeniable. A truth was waiting to be revealed. But what shook me most wasn't the death itself, it was what came after. A light, not one that judged or spoke, but one that knew me better than I had ever known myself. And that light asked me one thing, just one question. But it was the kind of question that shattered every cycle I had ever lived, exploding it into fragments. I didn't know where I was. It wasn't a hospital. It wasn't the world as I knew it. There was no sound, nobody, but I still existed. It felt strange, like floating in a space that wasn't falling, wasn't flying, just suspended by something incredibly intelligent, deeply still, and overwhelmingly loving. And then the light appeared, not blinding, not radiant, but warm, like a mother's embrace, deep like the ocean floor, vast like the open sky, and without boundaries. I know you're probably waiting for me to describe that light in words, but honestly, there are no human words that can contain it. It wasn't just light, it was a memory of something I once knew but had forgotten since the moment I was born. The light didn't ask me my name. It didn't tell me I was right or wrong. It simply existed, like a cosmic mirror, reflecting every thought, every action, every version of myself I had ever been, without the slightest judgment. And then it spoke to me, not in words, but in a full-body knowing that poured straight into my being. Where is your heart? Nothing more, just that one question. But it echoed inside me like a silent explosion, and I couldn't answer. I had lived by logic, by planning, by image and identity, but I had never truly known where my heart was. I had loved, but with control, helped others, but to felt like I was good, sacrificed, but quietly longed to be seen for it. My heart wasn't there. It was behind me, hidden, tucked away where I thought it would be safe from pain. And the light had seen it all. In that very moment, my entire life unfolded before me, like a fast-forwarded film. Every word I had ever spoken, every moment I had unknowingly hurt someone, every time I chose silence when I should have spoken, every person I passed without looked them in the eye, every opportunity to love that I let slip away out of fear of rejection. It all came back, not to punish me, but to show me how I had truly lived. Not through memory, but through truth. I wasn't blamed, I wasn't judged, but I saw something far more humbling than judgment. The raw truth of who I was, reflected through a light that loved me too deeply to let me keep lying to myself. And just when I thought I had reached the deepest layer of self-confrontation, the light whispered again, not with words, but through an unshakable inner knowing. To break the cycle, you must see the source of it all. But that source wasn't in the past. It wasn't in memory. It was somewhere else entirely. A place I was about to be taken to. A place where I would see myself, not just in this life, but in many lives. And that was when I understood. Karma isn't punishment. It's a map, a sacred map, guiding me back to my own heart. Right after that question, the light began to move, not like any light we know, but like a gentle rhythm, warm and wise. I don't know how I was moving, only that I was being carried through a space where time no longer existed, gravity no longer applied, and the me I knew had dissolved. All that remained was pure awareness. Then I arrived at a place that had no defined shape, yet I understood instantly. This was where one doesn't just review a single lifetime, but many. Not through memories, but through energy. A presence appeared not in human form, but as a deep indigo light, with an intelligence and peace that made me feel as though I stood before a cosmic master. No names were exchanged, no introductions made, but I knew this was my soul guide. They didn't speak, they didn't teach in the traditional sense. They simply opened what I can only describe as an energy field, a space where every action, emotion, choice, and consequence I had ever set in motion was revealed like intertwining waves of light. And for the first time, I saw how karma truly works. It isn't punishment. There's no ledger, no angel with a scale. Karma is the energy I've released, returning to its source. A glance filled with contempt, a silent judgment, a broken promise, each one left a ripple in this energy field. And those ripples returned to me, not for revenge, but for learning. Karma doesn't punish, it teaches. But when we don't learn, it returns again and again. I saw it clearly. The people who caused me pain in this life had once been me in another. The broken relationships weren't accidents, they were opportunities to complete cycles that had been left unfinished. Some people I loved deeply, yet always hurt, because that's what I had once done to them. Others I disliked for no clear reason, because my soul still owed them an apology. Every wound was a mirror, every connection a thread, and every return an invitation not to suffer, but to awaken. The deepest pain wasn't in seeing my mistakes. It was in seeing how many times I had been given the chance to love, to forgive, to change, and I turned away. Not out of cruelty, but out of fear. Because I wasn't ready. Because I didn't yet know who I truly was. And when I finally saw, truly saw, I wept. Not out of regret, but out of love. Deep, aching, liberating love. My guide did not judge. He simply stood there, present and still, as if saying, "Do you see now? No one has ever been against you. The universe only reflects." I asked, not with words, but with a thought that trembled from the core of me, "Can I begin again?" There was no reply, only a quiet dissolving of the energy field. And in that silence, I understood. Once the lesson is fully learned, karma is resolved. There is no need to suffer further, no need to repeat. The cycle ends, not through punishment, but through awareness. And just when I thought everything had been revealed, a new vision emerged, a scene unlike any before. It showed me the original purpose of my soul, the reason I chose to come into this world, the one truth I had forgotten the moment I was born. That was the root of every cycle, and also the only key to liberation. When the energy field faded, I thought the lessons were over. But then another space unfolded, light as mist, yet deep as the ocean. And there, souls began to appear, not in bodies, but as distinct lights. Each light carried a familiar feeling. No introductions were needed. I recognized them instantly. Without faces, without voices, I still knew who my mother was, who was the former lover, who was the friend who betrayed me, and who was the one I had deeply hurt. They were all there, silent, without blame, They were simply like a second mirror. If the first mirror had reflected my actions, these souls reflected the intentions behind them. I saw the time I broke up with someone I loved, not because I stopped loving her, but because I feared she would leave me first. I saw the moment I refused to help a friend, not because I couldn't, but because I secretly envied his success. I saw myself receiving a compliment, acting humble on the outside, while inwardly craving more praise. I had thought karma was created by what we do, but it isn't. Karma is born from the true intention behind what we do, and that is where the soul learns most deeply. Because the universe does not respond to appearances, it responds to truth. I looked around at those soul lights. Some trembled. They were still holding the pain I had caused. But others radiated unconditional love. They had forgiven me long before I even knew I was wrong. And then I understood. I cannot repay karma with surface-level actions. I can only dissolve it by transforming from the deepest place within, the place where intention is born, where the soul chooses, where I decide whether to live from fear or love. That vision faded like clouds melting into sunlight, but it left a permanent mark on me. Every soul in my life, whether they caused pain or brought joy, came at exactly the right moment, playing the exact role I had agreed to. There were no enemies. Nothing was random. Each one was a mirror of my soul, reflecting me on a spiritual level. And just when I thought I had understood karma, a wave of soul memory surged through me, not tied to the past or present, but from a place deeper still, the moment before I was born, when I chose this very path with all its pain and all its lessons. And in that moment, I remembered the true purpose for which I came to Earth. There are some truths we simply cannot grasp while we're alive, but in that state, beyond body, beyond limits, beyond time, I saw what I once believed was unforgivable. I had chosen my life. I was not forced to live it. It wasn't random. It was an intentional choice, made with full awareness and agreement. Another field of light opened a stillness as vast and sacred as the palm of God. And there I saw myself, but not as Ethan Cole. There was no name, no face, just a stream of conscious energy, whole, pure, radiant. I was seated before other beings of light, and together we were watching a large image unfold. In that image was the entire life I was about to enter, the family I would choose, the childhood wounds, the betrayals I would endure, even the moment I'd be hit by a car. It was all there. I thought I'd resist. I imagined I'd cry, ask to change it, but I didn't. As a soul, I simply smiled and nodded, gently, peacefully, with deep resolve. Because I knew every part of it was exactly what I needed to learn the true lessons of love, of patience, of forgiveness, of the power of being fully present, on how to let go of ego to finally touch the soul. I even chose some of the souls who would take on the role of those who would hurt me. One soul said to me, "I'll come and betray you, not because I hate you, but because you need the experience to understand forgiveness more deeply." And I agreed. No one in the universe was punishing me. I chose the role. I chose the script. And now, living inside that role, I had been blaming life. I wept in soul form, not out of regret, but out of gratitude. Gratitude for the courage I once had. Gratitude for the deeper purpose behind every pain I'd endured. Gratitude for the truth that I wasn't thrown into this life. I walked into it, fully aware, with infinite love for my soul. And then I understood. My purpose in coming to Earth wasn't to become someone impressive. It wasn't to be recognized. It wasn't to pay off a debt. It was to learn how to love in conditions where love is difficult. To learn how to be present in the middle of chaos. To learn how to trust in the heart of confusion. In that exact moment, a voice whispered, soft as wind gliding through the center of my being, "Now that you remember, do you wish to return and complete what you chose?" It wasn't a command. It was an invitation. But I knew if I said yes, I would have to live again, fully, with all the pain, all the forgetting, all the weight of memory and body. Would I be brave enough to return carrying everything I had just seen? Would I truly live differently this time, or would I forget myself all over again? I stood before the soul map, where each lifetime appeared as a thread of light, and there, winding through with silvery gray twists and knots, was the thread of my current life, Ethan Cole. I looked at each knot, an absent father in childhood, a mother weighed down by depression, the heartbreaks that never found closure, the friend I betrayed, and the near-death experience I had just come through. I used to see those things as cruel accidents, random blows of fate, unfair punishments. But now I saw it all differently. Every moment was part of a design I had drawn myself, and I wasn't alone in drawing it. I saw other souls, those radiant lights who had agreed to walk this path with me. One had once been my mother in a past life, now my cold and distant boss. Another, a soul who had once been my closest companion, now appeared as a lover who hurt me deeply. None of them came to punish me. They came to activate my soul's lessons. No one was random. No one was just passing through. Each soul had signed a pre-life agreement, promising to appear at the precise time, in the precise way, to nudge me sometimes gently, sometimes painfully, toward awakening. And most important of all, I had the right to choose again. Free will doesn't vanish when we are born. It is the most sacred gift the soul brings into the world. No one forces us to suffer. No one requires our failure. Every scene in the movie of our life is an open script, changeable the moment we remember. The roles are temporary, but the soul is eternal. Then I saw something else, a memory not from Earth, but from before I came. In it, I held another soul close and said, "When I forget who I am, you be the one to hurt me, not because you hate me, but because you love me enough to wake me up." I wept, because now I knew how many people I had misjudged. I had resented them, pushed them away, wished them out of my life. But now I saw they weren't there to destroy me. They were there to awaken me. And just before the light faded, I saw one final message carved into the current of my energy. A promise, a whisper, etched like fire. Truth does not set you free. Realizing the truth does. And now that I had seen, had remembered, had known, I stood at the edge of a choice. To return to Earth, to re-enter the broken body I had left behind, or to stay and never forget again. But if I returned, would I have the courage to live differently, or would I once again fall into forgetting, into the loops of unconsciousness where the soul sleeps beneath the mask of life? I chose to return, without hesitation, without fear, even knowing I would carry all the old wounds with me, the fractures, the losses, the people who walked away, the moments that once made me want to give up. But this time, I carried something else, a new awareness. I didn't come back to win. I didn't come back to prove anything. I came back to love more clearly, to live more slowly, to be more fully present, and to forgive more honestly. I don't remember the exact moment I returned. I only recall a rush of frantic voices, the glare of emergency lights, a hand gripping mine tightly, and the sound of a heart monitor spiking with a faint rhythm, then growing stronger. I had been pulled back from the void, and for the first time, I was grateful for the pain, because it was the pain that brought me home. When I opened my eyes in the hospital, I saw the stunned face of a young nurse. She told me I had been clinically dead for over 5 minutes, and that no one believed I'd come back. But what I noticed more than her words was the light in her eyes, not the hospital light, but the light of a soul slowly awakening, a light I once carried and had forgotten. I smiled, not because I survived, but because I remembered. I remembered that I had chosen this life, that I had signed a covenant with myself, that I had stepped into this world with a longing to love and had fallen asleep somewhere along the way in the race to become someone. From that day on, I began to live everything over again, but with new eyes. I called an old friend I had hurt and then cut out of my life just to say I was sorry. I sat silently in a park for hours, just listening to the leaves fall. I hugged someone I used to resent, and for the first time, I saw they were never the enemy. They were a mirror I had been too afraid to face. I began to paint again, but no longer to hide behind the images. I painted to release the things I had never been able to name. Each canvas became a fragment of my soul, a new chapter in the journal of light I brought back from the other side. And then I began to share my story. Not for recognition, but because I knew somewhere out there, someone was trapped in the same loop I once was, and they needed a door to step through. I told them, "You're not broken, you're just lost. And the most painful things that happen to you, they're not punishments, they're invitations to come home." But I couldn't keep this truth to myself forever. Deep down, I knew, at some point, I would meet one of the old souls again. The one who once promised to break me wide open so I could finally remember who I am. And when that moment came, I would understand that when you can truly forgive the one who hurt you the most, that is when karma dissolves into light. And now I am ready for that. I was sitting in a small roadside cafe. The air was strangely quiet. Just an ordinary day. No rain, no sun. I was sketching ideas for a new project when the door opened and he walked in. That familiar face, that walk, those eyes. The one who had betrayed me. The one who shattered my trust and friendship. The one I had resented for nearly a decade. In that instant, time seemed to pause. But surprisingly, my heart didn't tighten. There was no anger, no bitterness. Only a quiet thought, so soft it didn't even need words. We meet again. He recognized me. His eyes hesitated, touched with guilt. But I stood up, walked toward him, and before he could say a word, I embraced him. Not out of nobility, not to offer him mercy, but because I saw it within the very particles of his light, there was still a part of me. And I had already forgiven him, long ago. From that moment on, the other side, where there are no lines between victim and perpetrator, between the one who hurts and the one who awakens. We sat down, not to talk about the past, but to share the silence, to sip coffee in a way we never had before, as souls matured by fire. And in his eyes, I saw release, not just for me, but for him too, for the man who had imprisoned himself in guilt, shame, and regret. And in that moment, we were both free. I left the cafe afterward, no need for apologies. I didn't leave anything behind, except a light handshake. But inside, I knew, the karma had dissolved. No more ripples, no more echoes. Only a still, quiet lake where the light of understanding and compassion reflected in full. That night, I painted a piece. No defined shapes, just light overflowing, soft, without a center. Because I no longer needed to become anyone. I just needed to be, to see, and to love. The way that light once embraced me in death and sent me back to live. If you are carrying pain, if there's someone you can't forgive, if there's a memory that still takes your breath away, please remember this. Maybe their soul once promised yours that they would break you, so you could wake up. Forgive, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve freedom. And if you've ever had a strange moment, an experience near death, a dream so vivid it clings to you, a coincidence too perfect to explain, or a moment when something inside you just woke up, please share it. Write it down, in the comments. It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be grammatically correct. It just needs to be real. Just you. Because you are not alone. So many carry the same questions, the same fears, the same invisible wounds. And maybe, just maybe, your story will be the light for someone else still walking through the same darkness you once knew so well. Writing is the beginning of healing. Telling is how we sow trust in life deeper than life itself. And who knows, maybe that story was something your soul once promised it would share when it came here. The universe doesn't need your perfection. It only asks for your truth. Let this comment section be a place where souls are finally heard.